A very good and happy Friday morning to everyone out there. Landon here with you to bring you your weather or night forecast courtesy of On Target. And we're going to be talking about much of the same, although we might have a little bit of relief on the active pattern side of things in the long term. But it looks like the heat and humidity is going to be sticking around, unfortunately. We got the same setup, folks. We've got this boundary located just north of the region. I feel like we've been talking about this same weather pattern for going on a couple of months now. Not been quite that long, but you all get the gist of things. This boundary is going to meander and slowly slide down to the south and east and then wobble back to the north, staying in its same near vicinity and location right along and just north of the Ohio River. High pressure remains set up and absolutely locked in down to our south and east, and clockwise flow around areas of high pressure is going to continue with that deep, warm, moist air mass out of the Gulf and out of the deep south that's going to continue to reside right across the Wobbles community. Let's get a look across the region. Beautiful masterpiece of a sunrise overlooking our WRUS camera north over 431 there in Russellville. Got a few pop-up showers and storms up there along the Ohio River, and you can see those puffy cumulus clouds and those towering up back there on the horizon, creating an absolutely immaculate view early on this Friday with a wide array of colors. Looking up the D93 sky cam, we got a look over downtown, the Bowling Green Hot Rod Stadium, along with the parking structure. Got a few wispy clouds out there, folks. We're going to expect to have a little bit more cloud cover in the skies throughout today. Might mitigate those temperatures a little bit, but folks, it's going to feel like an absolute furnace out there yet again, with the opportunity of reaching triple-digit heat indices. Temperatures and dew points, where they are located this time of day here over the past 2 or 3 days, we're already well up into the 70s in both the temperature and dew point department. Going to be sending highs right up to around the 90-degree mark on either side of that threshold. Dew points meandering anywhere between the low to mid to perhaps even creeping into the upper 70s at times. It is going to result in a very oppressively hot and humid atmosphere, to say the least. Here we are looking at the surface map this morning. That front remains just north of the region. As we work into the start of the weekend, it's going to stay just north of the region. As we work into the latter part of the weekend, that cold front stays north of the region. Anything south of that line, folks, is going to continue to be very hot and very muggy. That's just the repetitive forecast that we are having to deal with, that Mother Nature seems to not be getting tired of whatsoever. We can jump over here and take a look at the storm environment. It's going to be much of the same, folks. You can take it with a grain of salt. Some of us will get 1 to 2 inches plus of rainfall potentially today, while other locations don't receive anything at all. As far as measurable precipitation, we had readings in there yesterday. Very strong storms that came through late in the afternoon and throughout the evening. We had rainfall measurements from Allen County stretching over to the south side of Barron County of exceeding an inch. And we had numerous locations that didn't even receive a trace of rain yesterday, and that's going to be more of the same as we work throughout this final day of the work week. Scattered, meandering storms will continue to be the name of the weather game. A few could become strong to severe. Here we are working through this afternoon. You can see them bubbling up right along and south of the parkways and down to the Tennessee state line. Any storm that develops, gusty, potentially a damaging wind gust or two, localized flooding and excessive rainfall, and frequent lightning. We simply cannot get rid of this repetitive pattern. We're going to continue throughout the day. We get into tonight, we lose the daytime heating and instability. All the activity dissipates. We progress through the day on Saturday. Oh, look, scattered storm chances back in the mix. We lose it Saturday night. Then we get into Sunday. We get more around. You all get the idea, okay? There's no need for me to repeat myself anymore, but there is something to look at here in the long range that might be bringing us some relief. Again, perhaps from the wet side of things and the active pattern, but not quite the heat and humidity, unfortunately. Here we are working through today and throughout the weekend, and you'll note we have a westerly flow in the mid and upper levels. It's flow coming from the west and tracking eastward right over our vicinity. This is what's helping to produce those showers and storms with this ridge still building down here across the far southeast. Take a look at what's going to happen as we work late into the weekend into the early days of next week. Notice the orientation of our mean, mid, and upper level flow. we're going to have a northwest flow environment that's going to set up as this upper level ridge is attempting to build in here across the southeast U.S. This could set up a possibility of clusters of thunderstorms, better known as MCSs, that could be developing over here across the Midwest and the northern plains, and then taking this mean, mid, and upper level flow and tracking south and east through the region. We got the Wobbles community right here where the Black Star is located. We'll be right along the periphery of this ridge building in here, so it's kind of, again, a hit-and-miss environment of storm roulette if we're going to get in on any of these clusters of storms. But wait a second. As we roll into the mid part of next week, here we are getting into Tuesday, into Wednesday. Look at this large expanding upper level ridge building in and taking over basically right along and east of the Mississippi River and down into the Mississippi Valley and across the Arklatex region. This is going to push that mean northwesterly flow north of the region where the storms will be riding right along the periphery of the ridge. Meanwhile, this big old fat ridge and area of high pressure is going to set up shop. This could be resulting in more of the dog days of summer, if you will. We're going to lower the chances of storms. They'll only be pop-up and very isolated in nature. However, that heat and humidity is going to continue to reside across the region, and I would not be surprised at all rolling into Tuesday, but more prominently Wednesday, on into Thursday, on into Friday of next week, as you can see here, for the opportunity at some heat advisories being issued across the region. So that'll be another component that we need to keep close eyes on regarding our weather forecast. All right, looking at the latest here from our local National Weather Service office, we're kind of in the Bowling Green bubble, if you will. Take that with a grain of salt too, folks. It's just a myth, all right? But we are sandwiched in between heat advisories directly to our south and to our west, and we got flood watches over here to our east. But we're going to need to keep an eye on things because, as I'll showcase here, look at the heat index as we work throughout today. Temperatures near 90 degrees, dew points in the mid, perhaps upper 70s. We're going to be exceeding the 100-degree mark in the heat indice front yet again. So if we're going to be spending extended periods in the outdoors, please remember to reapply that sunscreen as necessary. Stay hydrated as well. Another thing to take note of, we have got the opportunity of a few strong to marginally severe storms today, very similar to yesterday. We have been given a 5% probability of damaging winds occurring within 25 miles of your location today. It looks to be the primary concern with the storms and over water loading with excessive rainfall and localized flooding. Folks, you all know what we've been dealing with. It's just the same thing. I feel like I'm just regurgitating the same sentences over and over. Apologies on that front. The pattern simply won't change. The Kentucky summer rolls on in the 6-day weather forecast. Temperatures between the low and mid 90s each and every afternoon. We will be making a run at the 100-degree mark or exceeding that in some instances. That would include today. And of course, we have daily shower and storm chances coming along with that. Looks to be maximized as we roll into this afternoon, into Saturday. Sunday into Monday might be a little bit drier, but will definitely begin to dry out by the mid and latter part of next week with that upper level ridge building in here, keeping the oppressive heat and humidity around. But the good news is we will be drier on the storm front. Friends, it's going to wrap up your Friday morning weather or not forecast presented by none other than On Target. You all take care of your